Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you find yourselves in this weird, wild, wacky world about, and welcome to another exciting installment of Darkness in Dublin. This evening's social scene, well, when we say social scene, we mean Lob Light, or maybe not, will take place at Agrabah Nights. Agrabah Nights is that place that is just down a back alley or up a stairway, perhaps both, as a matter of fact. But it is a club located just. Ah, hello, Austin. It is a club that is located just off Grafton Street in the centre of Dublin city centre proper. It's rather unassuming, literally just a large red door, outside of which stands a bouncer and a red velvet carpet that goes upstairs. But as you go upstairs, well, that's where interesting things begin. As you take a left-hand turn at the top of the stairs, you'll be greeted by a flap of fabric, some kind of silk, one would assume. And then, as you push through it, you find yourself in what appears to be a Bedouin-style tent. Multicolored and multifaceted are the silks that drape the ceiling. Cushions adorn the floor. Many small tables are seated around. Many small tables to be seated around exist in the central floor, with large, comfortable cushions to sit on and shisha pipes that pipe away happily, seated on the tables proper. So, I give the description for those of you who have not been here. It is new, it is fascinating, it is that mysterious taste of the East. It is, however, the publicly known hangout of the awakened. Only the awakened seem able to enter Agrabah Nights, so it is that you have complete and utter privacy. And that's truly valuable from time to time when you want to, shall we say, have an open and frank conversation. So, we will join our compatriots as they arrive. You will enter in the order you are on my screen, so in that case, I'm going to push Austin under the bus first. Oh wait, he's drinking coffee. He has failed me for the last time. Glare. Glare. In that case, we'll go to the next person on my
I
list.
doubt it's the last time.
In that case, we'll go to the next person on my list, which is Heather.
So, Rhiannon will enter. She has a small bag with her today. And she will order very carefully, very specifically, a chicken salad sandwich where the chicken salad is made with mayonnaise, grapes, and almonds on homemade oat bread with a simple salad of lettuce, spinach, and cherry tomatoes on the side, as well as a as well as a 6-ounce portion of raw beef.
As requested, the food will simply materialize in front of you, constructed as if from mist and vapor.
And Rhiannon will begin to eat.
Very well. In that case, if you would like to introduce your new character, Deborah, by all means, feel free.
Okay, well, Cassidy's just gonna wander in because why would she not? If it's as well known as you say as an awakened hangout, then she's probably looking to try and meet some of the locals. And she's just gonna make her way up to the bar and order herself an apple juice.
As you enter, you will hear a very polite clearing of the throat behind you. Like a...
And she'll turn to look at the person.
The woman pictured is standing there. The one thing that you will find of immediate interest is the fact that her eyes around the pupil are a bright violet purple. And she will say, Good evening, Sadiq. Welcome to the home of my master. It is a pleasure to make your acquaintance.
Good evening.
She kind of quirks her head to the side, looking you up and down, and she will say, "You are new, yes?"
Relatively. But then everyone's relatively new and relatively old.
Allow me to rephrase. You have not been to our establishment before.
No, I haven't.
In that case, be welcome under His Highness's roof. As long as you harm neither you nor any of our guests, you are welcome here, Sadiq. Please ask for anything you wish. It will be provided.
Thank you for your welcome.
If it helps, I am the hostess. That is all you need to know.
It's a pleasure to meet you.
There is a very slight bow.
And she will make a very slight bow back, basically exactly the same depth.
Mm-hmm.
Because to be honest, she's more used to dealing with spirits than people sometimes, and you've got to be careful not to seem like you're being authoritative or submissive before you know exactly who you're talking to.
Mm-hmm. With that, the figure will disappear into a cloud of purple smoke.
And Cassidy will ask for an apple juice.
There is no bar, for the record. It is merely a series of low tables. But as you turn around, there will indeed be apple juice seated on the table right behind you.
Excellent.
And next we have, "Hey Austin, get the fuck in here." There we go.
I'm so in here. I'm in here. You don't have to beat me anymore.
Silent slave.
Ah. In any case, dear old Isaac will go ahead and make his way to this particular den of villainy and scum as well. He fits the scum part in any case. You know, the villainy, you're gonna have to ask somebody else for that. But he goes ahead and makes his way into the establishment, and he knows kind of what he wants. He's not wearing the Smart Mark uniform today. He got off today. Why? There was a small fire with the rotisserie hot dog cooker. Many hot dogs were lost in this devastating tragedy. But
A moment of silence for the hot dogs.
yep, moment of silence. And it's over. So he's in jeans. He's in a bit of a hoodie. Very much dressed down individual. He's not dressing up at all. Not that he could afford to go ahead and like don like something like a $5,000 tuxedo. Oh no, that's not him. That's not him at all. But he finds himself here, and he looks around, and he's not necessarily wanting anything to drink, not necessarily wanting anything to eat. I know, like fucking heresy. But he sees the various smoking apparatuses and thinks to himself, I can work with this. I can work with this. What he does is he's going to go ahead and travel over to one of those rather low couches and just sit in front of this bit of a hookah and just go ahead and sample it. Just go ahead and let most of his worries and his ease and all the concerns of this particular life and its reality just go ahead and float on away.
Isaac, for that one brief moment, you almost feel alive.
It's a lie, but okay.
But yes, all have now gathered. There are a number of other individuals who are currently in Agrabah Nights this evening. Many of them seem to be in close confines, speaking in hushed words to one another, speaking low and whispering words. For those of you who know, there are still quite a number of mages left in the city after the incident involving the Canticles of Lamentation, many of whom have already gone home, but still some remain. So you anticipate the fact that some of these magi were more than likely involved in the clash between the Canticles and the traditions. However, none seem to be incredibly interested in conversation. But yes, it is a pleasant evening. As always, any request you make for food or drink is indeed provided to you. Oh, I should have done this a moment ago, because it's your first time meeting them. Deborah, if you'd like to make me an intelligence spirit lore roll, because I believe you have that.
Yes, I do. Where do I need to make those?
You not on our dice roller or on our Discord server?
Not currently.
Okay. I'll do that thing where an invite is made. Boop, boop, boop. It's in the chat.
Okay.
Sorry.
You guys go ahead and do stuff while I'm sorting out the rolls.
Cool. Isaac, question. What type of flavored tobacco is it that Isaac was hankering for?
Tobacco? Does this man look like he goes ahead and smokes tobacco? He smokes wacky tobacco.
Oh, did you actually want marijuana?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You basically can, if you ask the shisha, it will provide what you ask for.
I'll absolutely go ahead and ask them for something more quote unquote medicinal.
Okay. Make me a stamina check.
You think I can make stamina checks? I certainly cannot, but I
It's
will
just
go ahead and make my best effort at it.
It's just standard diff for now, God.
Apologies, I didn't have the Discord up like right away. My bad.
It's all good, bro.
Okay. Okay. No successes.
What's the difficulty for the roll you wanted me to make, by the way?
Difficulty 7. And Austin, yeah, You're pretty crispy.
Oh, that's a nice sort of buzz to go ahead and have.
And you have a total of 1 success, difficulty 7, or 2, 1 success, difficulty 7. So the entity you spoke to was definitely a spirit of some kind or another. You're just not exactly sure what it was, but it was definitely a spirit.
Fair enough. Good to know.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
So, other than Austin getting doped up and Yana
I
having
believe
a
the medical phrase is blitzed out of his brains, but yes.
Oh yeah, yeah. And Yana having a sandwich. Is there much else going on at the moment?
There are a number of groups of people who are talking. There are approximately 3. Some of them they're all dressed in pretty plain clothes, with 1 or 2 notable exceptions. One of them is dressed in more what you would refer to as iconoclastic wizarding garb. So he's got a number of sigils on his coat. Think more John Constantine than Merlin, and you're not far wrong. And they appear to all be kind of sitting and eating. They're in very tight-knit groups who are, having conversations. The people who appear to be most kind of socially open and receiving are Stoner McGee and someone who is enjoying a lovely sandwich.
Every so often, as Rhiannon eats, she'll take a small portion of the beef and put it in her bag. Apparently, her hand will come out clean. But yes.
Does she look like she's trying to be discreet about it, or just like getting on with feeding whatever it is in her bag?
No, she's not trying to be discreet about it at all.
In that case, I'll wander over there. Looks like she's trying to be like secretly feeding a thing in her bag. Then she'd avoid her, but you know. Do you mind if I join you?
Oh, no, go ahead. I'm Rhiannon.
Cassidy.
Nice to meet you.
I take it you have a friend with you?
Yes, his name is Bear. He's currently enjoying his supper.
Ah. You never quite want to get between the slightly more furry people and their food.
It's funny you should mention slightly more fairy people.
It is at this moment in time that this individual will enter the bar. Those of you who have met him have met him. Those of you who have not, have not. He will casually walk in, and he's going to sink into the kind of almost like the lotus position, almost the meditative lotus position, as he drags a hookah to his own lips. He'll take a deep inhalation of smoke and let out green smoke through his nostrils before he'll nod kind of appreciatively, and he'll say, do forgive me, mein Fräulein, he'll say, looking at Rhiannon. You was the young lady who unfortunately covered Herr Grant in rather a large amount of bees.
Yes, that was me.
It is a pleasure to see you again. I would ask, if you do not mind, please do not have this form set on me. I'm far too delicate.
Oh, don't worry, Mr. Grimm, was it?
Yeah.
Do not worry, Mr. Grimm. I will not make the mistake of asking for living creatures again.
I think that it is indeed a step in the right direction, if I'm being honest. He will extend his hand to the person he doesn't know, however, and he'll say, "Good evening, mein Fräulein. It is a pleasure to make your acquaintance."
Nice to meet you as well.
He will extend the hand.
She'll hold out her hand as well.
He will shake it. "My name is Wilhelm Grimm. It is a pleasure to make your acquaintance."
Cassidy Sheridan.
If you want to, if do you out of character know the name?
Vaguely.
Wilhelm Grimm.
I do know the association of the Grimm's fairy tales. Yes.
Wilhelm Grimm was one of the two brothers who wrote them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's just that if people don't know that, I give them an academic's role to identify them.
Yeah, no, I know that, but then it could be grandson, nephew, whatever. Well, great.
If you'd like to make a mage lore check, I can answer that question.
I can do.
If you want
I
to.
think that'll be intelligence mage law.
Correct. Ding, ding, ding. This is only difficulty 6, because he's actually relatively famous.
That's 4 successes.
Oh, well, okay then. No, Wilhelm Grimm is indeed a mage. He is one of the 2 writers of the Grimm's fairy tales. However, his brother never awoke and passed away about a century ago, but he himself is still alive.
Okay.
He's also an orphan. He never opted to join a tradition.
But to be honest, she's not likely to comment on that because that's probably going to bring up bad memories.
Yeah.
But thank you for letting me know.
You got the successes to know the things.
Mm-hmm.
But he will say, "It is very agreeable to meet you in that case. Would you prefer Cassidy or Miss Sheridan?"
Cassidy's fine. Do you prefer Mr. Grimm or Wilhelm?
He shrugs. "I'm not exactly picky. People tend to call me Mr. Grimm. They also tend to call me Master Grimm, but then that makes me feel old and weird, so don't do that. But other than that, everything else is fine." He smiles. He's got a very kind of easy smile. And he'll say, "I have not seen you here before, though I must admit that I myself am newly arrived here in Dublin. But are you new to the city yourself?"
Newly returned.
Ah,
I
I
used to
see.
live here when I was a child, but then we moved away.
"So it is that all things, when it is they are ready, find their way home."
I'm not sure I quite want to go all the way home, but the city's good enough.
I can understand this premise. By the way, Isaac, you didn't ask for it. However, before you, there is now a tray of munchie food.
It's like they could read my mind. They might have
Maybe
read
this
my
place
mind, to be
can.
quite honest. I assume that there are some sort of Fritos out there, some Doritos as well. Just every single kind of snack chips possible, imaginable under the sun. But I also go ahead and imagine there's some really, really square Triscuits and wheat thins, and next to them are little tiny sausages and sliced cheeses. Oh man, he is gonna go ahead and take all of that and stuff most of it in his mouth.
See, I'm also imagining Turkish delight and dates on that plate, but you know.
What do you eat when you're stoned? Jesus!
I don't get stoned. I was just thinking more of the ambience of the place. That they were going to throw in some Eastern munchies as well.
They provide exactly what it is you desire. Kevin will join us.
Yeah. He'll walk in, and Isaac in particular gets a very familiar pat on the shoulder. It's hard not to be familiar with somebody when you've both nearly gotten murdered by otherworldly entities together. It's a real bonding experience.
You go ahead and pat him on the shoulder. He'll go ahead and reach up and just pat you on the floor. "Hey, buddy."
Hey. What's going on with you?
goes ahead and gestures to the bit of a hookah pike. You can go ahead and see that he is already like imbibed and take it, and he's comfortably buzzed. He's not blazed out of his mind, but he is comfortably buzzed.
It
He
takes
goes ahead
long
and
enough.
says, "Oh, I'm sorry."
Takes long enough for this to register to Kevin.
Isaac's simply gonna go ahead and said, "I'm relaxing. I am relaxing." You know that the whatchamacallit, that rotisserie for the hot dogs?
Yeah.
It burned down. Mini hot dogs died.
How did it burn down?
I don't know. There's a giant fucking grease trap that just caught in fire.
Isaac suddenly remembers that he was due to clean the grease trap, but got distracted by comic books. Continue.
So they gave me the day off, and I'm not gonna go ahead and look one grease fire in the mouth.
I was wondering what that smell was. At least that explains things.
Yep, that's it. Have some. I don't know if I'm gonna take another hit, but you go ahead and talk to those 2 redheads. 3 redheads.
He ultimately sits down. Good on that. That's not really how I go through life. But he will now look at the people that are being referred to. I imagine it's 2 of the PCs and this NPC.
Yep.
Okay. Rhiannon, for her part, there is a look of relative familiarity, as along with Mr. Grimm gets away from Kevin.
Oh, it's an awareness roll to notice echoes, isn't it?
Well, it depends on how obvious the echoes is. If the echoes are blatant,
so it's pretty hard to notice.
then if the players are so inclined, yes. I'm sorry, just give me a moment. I'm currently looking for something. Please continue.
I was just gonna go ahead and simply point at the crowd of other magi still within the establishment, and he says, a lot of people who went on that expedition, they're huddled in their own little quarters trying to make sense of it before they get off.
They'll work it out.
I like our particular rationale. We killed God. It felt good.
I mean, that's certainly one way to look at it.
It's more so, if you will forgive my saying, sir, I don't know your name, but it's more so the fact that in that one moment, you saw the birth, not necessarily of God, but something that's damn near close.
I'm just gonna go ahead and point at the man he doesn't know and simply say, true, but I like the story that we killed God. No, that's not what's gonna be put in the history books. That's what's gonna be put in my brain pan. You can tell that this is a stoner talk. Absolute stoner talk.
Considering what it is that you put in your brain pan, I'm not exactly sure how long it will stay there, but is that acceptable?
So, what exactly did happen?
All eyes go to Kevin.
I don't rightly know. We went into one big area, nearly got killed by dead people. Around the time that the dead people had seen themselves out or been seen out, we nearly got killed by something. Can't quite say it was the man himself, but it was something wearing his face. In terms of the High Inquisitor. Ran into a bunch of more dead people. None of whom were very helpful, at least to me. And from that pile of dead people, we ran our way up to even more dead people. And then one of them twitched, so forget who took it out, but that thing wasn't getting up again. Ran up some more stairs. There were a lot of running that day, in my memory.
And a lot of dead people, it sounds.
Oh, yeah, it's gonna be hard to forget. But around the time we got there, either the High Inquisitor himself or the thing wearing his face was up there, along with you know what? Don't remember the angel's name. Didn't really matter. And a empty vessel of sorts. Well, that went over pretty much like a lead balloon, so we tried to do something about it, at which point a creature named Faust showed up. We had a heck of a time fighting both it and the thing around the vessel. Came to a point where things were about to tip one way or the other, but Faust was done with, and a lot of things I don't quite understand happened. And the vessel became sentient, though this apparently wasn't a bad thing in and of itself.
So by vessel, you didn't originally mean a person that they were trying to imbue with the thing. It was actually a vessel. It was in like a cup or a cauldron?
No, it's human shaped. It has a human face, but the construction's a little beyond me.
Like a mannequin.
Right.
Yeah,
It became
a lot more complicated.
sentient because it...
Isaac's gonna go ahead and simply let out a long breath, some pillowy smoke. Go ahead and flies out. He simply looks to Kevin and says, "You want help with this one?"
Please.
I remember a lot of that. Okay.
Look, it's just not within my belief system.
Okay. I don't have a belief system, so maybe this is why it works well for me. Okay. He stands up a little bit, directing his attention to the redheads, and tries to go ahead and break it down. So, we found the head Inquisitor, apparently a great leader of this splinter group of choristers and Templars, and he was fanatically devoted to this idea that he would recreate something, bring back into the divine fold something that had been lost long ago. And he had been advised by two greater powers, one of which was fallen, that being Faust, and the other one being an angel from on high who was prohibited from directly affecting events. That's why he just constantly advised. He advised the Grand Inquisitor. He conspired with Faust. And all for what, you go ahead and may ask? What was this great divine power to be reunited on high? But, as Kevin says, a vessel. At the time, the vessel was protected by wards, both primal, strong, spiritual, and all manner of things. That vessel, and you can go ahead and see Isaac's like reaching out as if to go ahead and touch it, rather reverently. But you can go ahead and see that his eyes are just buzzed. He's not looking at anything particularly. He's more looking at a memory. He goes ahead and continues. That vessel had no animating spirit, had no animus, and it was to be animated, and it was to be animated by something that Faust himself had, that fallen devil, that fallen angel, whatever you want to go ahead and call it. And he would have imprinted upon that vessel something tormented, twisted, evil, an abomination that ought not to go ahead and walk on earth, much less go ahead and find itself within the divine umbra. But before all of it went down, when we were all ready to destroy the vessel, the pure, innocent vessel, everything stopped. Everything stopped. And the angel himself that was presiding over this horrible, horrible abomination, this horrible ritual, cursed the being that came. And that being was
As you attempt to say his name, you immediately forget whose name you're going to say. It's as if it drifts out of your mind. Just like... to the point that you think you've said it and will continue on.
And I continue on. This creature advised us that there was a way to preserve what had been created here. The vessel could be animated, but not with the abomination that False would have gifted to it. Another way. Take what Faust had, which was the pure essence of 1,000 saintly souls, extract from it its twisted corruption, and give unto the vessel something new, entirely new. And it was as such. Faust was beat back. The angel could go ahead and simply watch. And the vessel was given a new name. Hope.
Hope. I see.
So, if I get this right, you fought your way through a load of dead people. You found a body that had been created in order to hold a spirit of some kind. You made sure that the spirit that they wanted to put in didn't get put in, and that a new one was born.
Isaac goes ahead and nods at this.
From awkwardly close to Kevin, like right next to his left ear, you hear, "Oh, is that how I was born, Uncle Kevin?"
Ah! Ugh! Why do people keep doing that? Okay. How did you get out?
Get out of where?
This, for the record, none of you really saw her come in, but this young woman, she looks to be about, you'd say 18, if she is a day, is just sitting next to Kevin, like right next to him.
Yeah, no, Cassidy's fine with people appearing as if from nowhere. I mean, she'd be a little bit surprised and jump slightly, but she's more concerned currently by the get out of where.
Where she was being kept for her own safety.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's... I was told this. One moment. Yes. Is that right? I think so. Maybe. Yes. She extends her hand to Cassidy and she says, "It is very nice to meet you. My name is Hope." I think that's right. Is that right? That's right.
My name's Cassidy. Nice to meet you.
You have very pretty hair.
Thank you.
And to answer your question, I heard you were talking about me.
No, but if Callie and the others discover that you're suddenly gone, without any explanation, there's going to be a certain amount of alarm in the house.
Oh, I'm there as well.
What?
What?
I'm there as well.
I see.
How?
Obviously, some sort of hard light projection. Maybe
Fair
like Star Wars.
Or simply co-location.
You see,
She's pulling a
places-
Luke Skywalker. I know it.
Well, no, she actually reaches over and bops you on the head. Like, bop.
Ouch.
Places
Really
are only
hard
different.
light.
Places are only different because you perceive them as being different. But if you don't perceive them as being different, you can be anywhere you want to be at any time you want to be. So you can easily be in 2 or more places at once.
Once
That
you're
makes
able to
sense.
separate your consciousness from your perceptions, yeah.
Alrighty then.
But yes, should I not have come, Uncle Kevin? I can go back.
I'm gonna put it this way. The outside world's extremely dangerous. There are a lot of people who would be really interested in getting a hold of one of the U's running around.
Am I not the only me?
As far as I can understand it, you're like multiplying or something. I don't know.
I'm merely in more than one place at once.
Okay, that would... I don't understand metaphysics.
This is what happens when you kill God.
Apparently,
But why would you want to kill God? I'm led to understand that he did some rather nice things. But then again, he also flooded the world, so I think the jury's kind of out on that one.
Isaac is agape at the question of why would you want to kill God, as if it's the most obvious thing in the world. Like he can list off like 3,000 like opinions off the top of his head why you would want to do it.
Oh, please continue, mister. I would very much like to hear your opinion as to the Deo side of God. Please continue.
I'm too buzzed for this.
However, consider this. If it was indeed that God is omnipresent, omniscient, and a being that is inherently all and or nothing, you exist via his good graces, meaning your opinion to wish to in fact infer, or in otherwise cease his existence is because he allows you to have that opinion. Ria re deus fault. You are able to have that opinion because God wants you to have that opinion, so he allows you to have the opinion that you should kill him or that he in fact should be dead.
I am a figment of God's imagination. Great.
No,
I
more
would
so-
say.
Oh, sorry. You continue.
I would say more of a portion of divinity, much like the sea and a droplet of water. They're both the same and yet separate.
Isaac, you're way too stoned for this.
Possibly. His opinion of hope is just fluctuating at the moment from that memory of that grand reverence of this potential thing. But now that she has a soul,
She was so perfect when she was just a lifeless doll.
yeah.
A lifeless doll made of pure faith energy.
Oh, no, I'm loving it because it's basically all fitting Cassidy's perception of things. She's like, no, that's totally how I understand correspondence magic. It's just not something I can do yet.
She kind of looks at Kevin and she blinks. Have I upset you, Uncle Kevin? I apologize.
I'm not mad.
She goes and she gives you the most awkward hug.
And Kevin accepts this. You can tell there's not a lot of paternal instinct in him, or avuncular would be the correct term here. But that's right, I know the word avuncular. But
It's a good word. I haven't had to use it in quite some time.
But he does his best to reciprocate this. It's just mutually awkward all around, really.
It's interesting. Whenever I hear someone reference me, regardless where they are, I can hear it.
Huh.
I was at...
Isaac goes ahead and tries to get Kevin's attention and tries to make the motion. We need to talk about that.
Kevin just kind of slightly nods.
I was at... would you call Callie mom? I think she probably would. Yes.
Okay.
I was at my mother's and I was reading the Necronomicon. I'm doing research into comparative faith. I have to say that I find the concept of Azathoth and the universal chaos to be quite interesting. But then I heard you talking about me, so I decided to come over here.
Okay, those are books by H.P. Lovecraft. As far as I know, none of those happened.
Oh.
And
the Bible happened.
I don't know, but I do know that Mr. Lovecraft was can't really call him a science fiction author, but he was a horror author who lived quite some time ago. Given the fact that Mr. Grimm is alive, well, and running around, might have to double check on the factualness of some of those volumes, but
you can almost hear Mr. Grimm cough into his hand. Hack! Hack!
I'm going to put it this way, Hope. If anything in those books is true, and you come across it in the world, it is an inherently bad thing.
Oh. It's... How did Mother phrase it? I believe it was Blood Angel, or no, not Blood Blood Eagle, the
Eagle.
bastard. Yes.
I don't tend to take that drawn out of an approach, but if that's what you're gonna do. That's what you're gonna do. No, those are under the inherent threat to life as we know it category.
And life is good.
Yes.
Generally speaking.
Does that mean death by retrospect is bad?
Depends.
Generally unappreciated.
Death is simply a transition from life to matter.
But-
Isaac says, uncharacteristically grim.
But it is the changing of state, the inertion of the physical for the release of the spiritual.
And is inevitable. Again, uncharacteristically grim.
There's a
No,
lot of
he's
people grow-
uncharacteristically grim. Sorry. Terrible joke. Continue.
A lot of people grow attached to their nature, their current state.
Oh, so you're saying that death, the changing of state,
As you said, death is the release of the spiritual, and a lot of people quite enjoy the fusion of the spiritual and the physical.
there's kind of a contemplate. You can almost see like the brain is buffering, and she says, "That's very interesting. Thank you for the insight."
I'd be happy to discuss my my personal views on faith anytime you choose.
Thank you for the insight. I would very much enjoy that.
So, did you come to see us just because you heard us talking about you?
Well, it's been somewhat common recently. I keep hearing people reference me, and then it creates a link from me to there. As I said, technically speaking, I'm not here. You are indeed correct. She'll say, looking at Isaac, my physical form, at least, is not here. My physical form is currently located elsewhere. This is just me being here, but not being here. Does that make sense?
It does.
That makes sense. Yes. But I can hear it when people talk about me or when they call me by name. And I wanted to see why. Plus, I knew that I wanted to see. So,
So here you are. In a sense.
You may want to be more careful about that in the future.
oh. I see. So, you say that I shouldn't go and talk to people when they're talking about me?
Not always. Honestly, you could end up in a situation you didn't account for. In a worst case scenario, it could be a trap.
Oh. I didn't think of that.
Well, now you know.
In that case, I should probably go. I didn't mean to upset or offend you by popping up, Uncle Kevin. I just was wondering why you were talking about me.
Oh, got some new people in town. Needed to get them up to date on everything that happened, and try not to think of it as me being upset per se. I just worry.
It was very nice to meet you all, and I would very much like, or I think I would like, yes, I think I would very much like the opportunity to have that conversation with you about what it is you believe, Miss Cassandra, at some point. Nod, nod.
It's Cassidy, but yes, I look forward to it.
Oh, Cassidy. She won't have made that mistake. Evan just misread your name.
Yes.
But with that, you see her kind of, for the record, if anyone did have forces sight on, I don't believe they do, she was entirely composed of light. You were indeed right, Austin, it was just a hologram. And she put forces behind the effect to boop you.
Makes sense.
It's entirely possible she could have been in two places at the same time.
That requires so many spheres.
Oh yeah, no, OC, I get that. I see. As far as her paradigm's concerned, you know, it's all a matter of perception and understanding of the universe. We are all parts of divinity, so power is essentially limitless, except for how much it is that we're intended to have.
Oh, good lordy. Miss Sheridan and Hope will have long, long conversations, I assume.
Oh yes.
Alright. As soon as our good old, dear old living vessel turned Hope goes ahead and disappears where she came from, I just simply go ahead and look at Kevin and simply say, you know what's going to be really weird and awful?
What?
When people start praying to she who will not be named.
You know, we're gonna...
On a side note, Austin, out of character, you just hit the nail right on the head there. Continue.
God damn it.
We're gonna evaluate that when we get there.
Look, Kevin.
You do realize it doesn't require a name to talk about a person.
He goes ahead and throws his hands up. I'm working with the best knowledge I've got, and that involves like an encyclopedic knowledge of every single anime and horror movie I've ever seen. Kevin, I don't know what that thing is, but it's some type of greater spiritual being, and it's responding to people's prayers, I would go ahead and assume, but don't go ahead and quote me on that nonsense.
Look, we'll deal with it when we get there. There's not a lot I can do about it right now.
You know what? You're right. I'm tripping. He's gonna go ahead and like fall back onto the cushion, and he goes ahead and re-offers like a hit of the hookah. Now, do you want one?
Nope. And Kevin will summon Kevin will summon a steak, black bean, white rice, cheese, and guac burrito.
Your burrito will appear under a small serving dish.
Hooray! He enjoys it with a glass of milk.
Yeah.
On a side note, you're no longer your food is no longer cursed.
Hooray!
And he's gonna go ahead and direct his attention towards Rihanna. Simply saying, "Oh, howdy. How you doing?"
I'm doing well, thank you. How about yourself?
Somber day. Very, very somber. A rotisserie. The hot dogs burned down.
Oh,
A single tear squeezed out of Isaac's eye.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Those hot dogs. Those hot dogs weren't ready. They weren't ready.
It is a shame that no one got to enjoy them. That was the purpose they were created for. After all.
Yes. Yes. Morning shift was just completely out of whack. The coffee didn't get made. The freaking floors didn't get swept or mopped. And none of the discounts were updated. It was just a travesty all around.
Oh dear.
Look, here's the deal, Isaac. As far as anything that was lost in what apparently is an unfortunate grease fire related accident, sooner or later it'll get replaced. Even if it doesn't, it's not that big a deal. As for you, I wouldn't really worry about you, man. You seem to have an absolutely ironclad grip on your job. You're just going to enjoy your day off and then go back to really hating retail, which, brother, I've been there. I understand.
Kevin, you got some good advice there. I might just go ahead and follow it.
Like, heck, before I had an office job, I worked plenty of retail.
Oh, really?
Yeah, let's see here. At least 3 local stores. At a Best Buy for a little while back when they were a much smaller company. Worked at a Target. Didn't work at Walmart, actually. But from there I went to an office supply store. And it was around the time I think I was in part of the sales floor. They had me with the copiers, printers, and all that. Couldn't say I was really much of a technology man myself, but they knew what to teach us to say. Put it that way. Well, eventually I helped a gentleman out of a jam, and he looks like this is a really funny pun because he was just talking about copiers and then mentioned a jam. It's not funny. But following that is saying he gave me his card, told me to drop a resume by at some point. Now, as it turned out, their entry-level stuff was more kind of the guy who gets the coffee type of deal. But for somebody who didn't even have a college degree under his belt, it was a great foot in the door. And before you knew it, can't say I was at the top of the food chain, but I'd certainly worked my way to the middle of the building.
Good on you for climbing that corporate ladder.
Yeah. But it's long behind me now.
I did some time in a cupcake shop.
Now, that just sounds like a job with some really, really good benefits. None of the medical, dental, or vision, but benefits all the same.
I spent most of the time back in the kitchen, but yeah.
What about you, Isaac? How did you get here?
How did I get here in Dublin? Or how did I get here in this pissant for a job?
I mean, brother, you can throw a rock and hit a job at some points in your life. But I take one look at you, I hear you, you're obviously from the States. How did you get all the way here?
He goes ahead and nods. How did I get here? I honestly don't know. I know how I went ahead and fell, though. Okay. So tell me if you heard this story before, right? Okay. So, move into a nice place. Good apartment, right? And you go ahead and figure out, oh, I'll go ahead and make myself something. You go ahead and go to the oven, try to fiddle around with all the knobs. You find that it doesn't work. So you're like, okay, That's fair. Won't go ahead and use it. You don't go ahead and use it. You and all your other shit, your IKEA nonsense. I'm talking about dollar bin furniture. I'm talking about those stupid little tongs that you go ahead and it's like a scissor type thing, so you can go ahead and throw your salad in. I'm talking about the most mediocre kind of stuff you've ever gone ahead and seen, right? And you think to yourself, okay, cool, I'm set. Nothing could ever go wrong. Go back to the stove. The pilot light has been on for quite a while. You don't notice it when you go ahead and flick the match. Boom. Big fucking explosion. Barely lived, actually. But, yeah. That was, when I was, living with my, fiance, who is a resident, around here. We're no longer together. We're no longer a thing. But, after the fire, I just head and shrugs. Couldn't make it back to the States. So I just looked for employment here. Ended up at Smart Mart.
Kevin pauses for a moment, looks over at Rhiannon. You're in the store a lot.
Yes, I am.
A lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like to the point where I have considered giving you a broom.
If you do, I'll put it to good use.
What do you do to feed yourself? I am becoming concerned in my life.
Well, I haven't really got that sorted out yet, but Callie thought she'd be able to help me with that.
All right.
We just haven't sorted out all the arrangements.
Well, I tell you what, Callie is a smart and capable lady. She'll definitely help you out. But I'm gonna keep your nose to the grindstone on this one. How about tomorrow? You bring in a copy of your resume and we'll go over it together and see how that works out for us. Okay?
A copy of my resume?
You may want to, in fact, build a first draft of your resume. That's what I'm sensing here.
Yeah, evidently.
All right. Now, if you don't have a computer of your own, I happen to know for a fact that the public library does have computers, so don't be afraid to put in a little time there. The librarian's a great lady. She'll help you out.
Okay. And she can help me build a resume?
You know, I don't know if the library offers those services, but I wouldn't be surprised. Libraries are great places.
Okay. I will, I guess, make a trip to the library and get myself a resume.
All right.
Good evening, Kevin Grant.
Shen.
For those of you who have not seen, you will see this woman has walked into the bar. She is fully clothed, unlike the picture that is presented here. Though, once again, she's not wearing shoes or socks. She is rather strikingly lovely. Her eyes are a deep almond color, and her hair is black as the midnight sky. She is clearly at least half. One of her birth parents was obviously Asian. You'd assume the other was Caucasian, but she has the tattoos are clearly visible. She's only wearing a t-shirt and very very tattered jeans, and but she appears to be more interested in Kevin than anyone else here. As she says, "I have a gift for you."
That's so.
It is. Are you not going to introduce me to your friends?
Considering the last time I did that and how that went over.
We're on happy terms, I should think. She will say, you can almost, it is what I lovingly refer to as when people who cannot smile attempt to smile.
Just lets it happen.
She's more wooden and inanimate than me.
You feel an immediate attraction.
Damn it.
Um,
Well, I got something to talk about for a while.
well, folks, this is Shen Mei.
It is a pleasure to make your acquaintance. She will give a very martial artist style bow to you all.
Isaac is going to go ahead and bastardize that bow just as much as its donor can possibly do, and simply say, "It's very nice to meet you, ma'am."
Nice to meet you.
Sorry.
As before, she'll basically bow the exact same amount. Probably not the exact same style, because she's just gonna like bend at the waist rather than anything with the hands involved. But yeah.
She looks at Cassidy in the eyes and she says, "I don't know your face."
Cassidy. Nice to meet you.
Indeed. My name is Shen Mei, as has been said. I am the first apprentice to Lord Saisho, the head of the Akashic Brotherhood in Dublin. A pleasure to make your acquaintance. But yes, Mr. Grant, your gift. She will remove a kind of a backpack from her shoulder, and you'll see her reach inside it, and she will withdraw a small black box that appears to be made of some kind of black obsidian stone. It's roughly large enough to fit into not the palm of your hand, but the palm of both of your hands if you cup them together.
What's this?
It is a gift from the master.
Your master doesn't like me very much.
You assume my master doesn't like you very much.
He did try to put me in a pretty tight spot.
But did you learn from the position?
I figured out some things.
So it is. You came to wisdom. He wished you to have this. That's all I know. I don't know its contents.
I see. Kevin does not look happy about this series of events.
Do you open the box or do you leave it closed?
I mean, oh, it's a box? Okay.
It's a box that appears to, as I said, it's a box that appears to be made of black obsidian.
Very slowly.
Okay. Inside, you find two things. On a crushed velvet interior, you find a pair of green jade Buddhist prayer beads. And you also find a single perfect white lotus flower.
We'll stare at them for a period of time and then close the box. Interesting.
He said it was, and I quote, to do with the path that you had chosen to walk.
I see.
If you'd like to make me an intelligence enigmas roll, you can.
Yeah, let me see what my enigmas is.
Is that kind of open for everyone, or is that specifically referencing to things that he knows?
It's pretty specific, mostly because it's very, very Eastern philosophy. If you feel as though your character has a firm grasp of Eastern philosophy, you can roll the enigmas roll.
I probably wouldn't say firm. But yeah, no, I was more thinking it might have something to do with like things that had happened to him or something.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on the difficulty, I've got 2 successes.
Standard diff.
Okay, 2.
The white lotus flower is very indicative in particularly Japanese iconography as being a symbol that is associated both with death and the concept of rebirth, or the beginning of a path, or the starting on a course.
Okay.
The prayer beads are very pretty prayer beads.
They do look nice.
Do you have Prime Sight active?
I do not.
Okay. They're just very pretty prayer beads.
Yeah, Kevin will take some time later, but not at the moment.
Well then, as I've said, I've delivered my responsibility to you, Gaijin.
Have fun doing what it is you do, Shen.
Always. All that is running through Kevin's internal monologue is, and one day she'll buy a pair of shoes.
Certainly one thought amongst many.
But she will bow to the rest of you, very deeply, very politely. She will kind of look at Isaac, and her eyes will meet his for a moment. Like, she has the same expression. Her eyes show no life to them, or no emotion to them, almost as like Isaac's eyes do every day in Smart Mart.
Isaac will go ahead and say, would you like to sit and stay a while?
Kevin dies a little on the inside at the concept.
Just a little.
And she will shake her head and she will say, "No, my master's errands take me elsewhere."
Do you have
However-
to go and do those errands alone?
Blink, blink. If you would like to help me break the kneecaps of several individuals who owe my master money.
I am willing to perform violence to strangers at the moment.
Thank you, Austin, for existing.
I turn to the rest of the group and Kevin and simply say, for some reason, my path takes me this way, and I am like the wind. I am like the water at the moment. I flow. And he's gonna go ahead and pick himself up, and presumably go on with Shin.
Oh, wow. Okay. Austin, out of character, you will leave the scene with her, but would you like to do a separate scene at some point with the adventures you and Shin go on?
That sounds delightful.
Oh, dear. Okie dokie, then. How's Kevin feeling right now?
Just not great. He watches, he doesn't walk them out. He watches the two of them leave and then just says, that boy has no idea what he just signed himself up for.
Yeah. You can kind of tell that, and I haven't met either of them before.
Shen's harmless unless she's ordered not to be, sometimes. Saisho, on the other hand, different kettle of fish.
I severely doubt she's ever harmless. She just chooses not to inflict harm.
It's a very astute way of putting it. That being said, if I wanted... And he rolls his neck. The whole wisdom as an excuse for assholery thing to come around, I would have just gone back to the monastery. They learned men and women there are masters of it. See, what bothers me about this, they'll just open the box again, Because I don't know if this is a trap or not. You know what I'm going to have to do, right?
Take a closer look at it before you do anything stupid.
Uh-huh. Not even going to take this home with me. Oh, motel. You are my friend in troubled times.
I was going to say, however, if you just blindly refuse a gift, then this individual could take that as an offense.
Oh, yeah, that would have escalated things. Kind of a catch-22 situation, but I'll handle it.
So, how many different ways of looking at it do you think you have?
A handful. I can't say that I've mastered everything under Samsara, but I've got a few tricks in my pocket.
Any notable gaps?
He shrugs.
I'm simply thinking it might be worth asking people here before you disappear off by yourself and can't ask them.
Oh, I'm calling my people the second I get out of here.
Kevin? Look,
What's
how
up?
concerning is this to you?
Vaguely. He hasn't made an attempt on my life yet that I know about.
That you know about? But you suspect he would?
Not yet. I haven't been a big enough thorn in his side. That and I might be just out of his reach at the moment. Not by a lot, but by a little.
I see.
Why is it that you think you're out of his reach?
When I was by myself in the order, it would have been the perfect time to bump me off. I was expecting it pretty much every day. I have since acquired new patronage.
New patronage.
Yeah.
Rhiannon nods. I see. So, you left one teacher that didn't suit you for another.
Long and short of it.
Ultimately, it's all about finding your own path, I should think.
It is. But some people have a way of taking things a certain way. Let me check some things in my stat block. My block of stats.
Or do you have to make a roll?
I probably will, yeah. Just looking at some things so I can figure all the math out beforehand.
Okay.
All right. So I've actually got a fair amount of quint in my pocket at the moment. I'll go for it. So I will blow a willpower on this first roll. We're starting out at diff 5 just because it's non-rote. Or actually, would fast casting bump that up another one on top of it?
What are you casting? Sorry.
Prime sight. I just don't have a road for it.
You could, yeah, it would in theory count as fast casting. So it's
Okay.
standard, it's difficulty 4 in that
Plus
case.
2. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, 4 plus 2, so we're coming out at 6. I'll bump down some quint too, just for the sake of it. Bring it back down to 4. And so this is plus a willpower. Oh, why did I roll 5d10? What is wrong with me? I'm not that cool yet.
Well, how many
Two.
are you supposed to use?
Your irritate.
I'm my irritate. Do you want me to just reroll that? I'm sorry, buddy.
Yeah, just re-roll the thing.
Oh my word. Okay, so with the willpower, that's 2 successes, 1
Yep.
into effect, 1 in duration. Should
Yep.
do it for prime sight.
You bring on the prime sight with a flash. You start to see the innermost energies of life and beings and things. You can also determine magical effects. And for the record, those prayer beads are a wonder. Not a very powerful wonder, but a wonder.
Well, that is interesting.
Care to share with the rest of the class?
Beads are magic. Wonder tech.
Did kind of suspect that they might be magical in some way, shape, or form.
I was kind of worried about a curse, honestly.
I can also tell you what they do.
Okay.
Essentially, whilst you are wearing these, you will be inured from physical pain and will not suffer wound penalties.
All right.
Quite interestingly, though, anyone have any idea yet how they do that?
I mean,
I can explain it for you with some wonky metaphysics if you'd like.
Well, I always get a bit concerned sometimes that a lot of things people carry around with magic in them also have beings in them.
As you're looking at it under Prime Sight, you can tell it is not a fetish. It is in fact a creative wonder. So it doesn't actually have a being in it.
Which is what she's concerned about, yeah.
Yep.
But I'm not looking at it, so you might want to tell me.
seems magical at the moment. I'm actually more concerned about curses, but I'll handle that later.
From a very cursory examination, it does not appear to be cursed.
Okay.
That is not to say something might not be lurking elsewhere in the enchantment or hidden in a way that you cannot see, but from your perspective, you cannot perceive a curse.
Okay.
At this point, because I actually should write up a thing about it, Wilhelm will pipe up and he'll say, "Oh, Mr. Gaunt, were you still, and the rest of you, if there is interest, of course, were you still interested in helping me with my work here in Dublin as pertains the potential supernatural threat at Killikee House? Yeah?"
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, because actually, yes, no, you wouldn't know about it, Heather, because it was your previous character who knew that.
Oh,
and they died.
That's right. Never mind.
It's quite an interesting story. Would you mind if I gave some enlightenment?
I always appreciate a good story.
I'd love to hear it.
Well, you see, about the year 1968, there was a derelict building on the outskirts of Dublin called Killikee House, and it has experienced terrible apparitions of a ghost-like demon cat that apparently haunts the hallways and maligns guests. So much so that there have been a number of fatalities as they have been linked to this animal or this extra-dimensional spiritual entity. And so it is that, well, this is what I do. I collect experiences and I gather stories. So I've decided to go and investigate it for myself. But several of the mages or the vacant here in Dublin expressed the interest in coming with me on this next little excursion. So, including Mr. Grant and his friends. So I said that I would let him know that I'm planning to go about my business in the next week or so.
All right, I'll let the others know.
Good. It should be a grand adventure, no? We get to, how is it I phrased it? Punch out the, no, there was, how was it I phrased it? There was a phrase.
Kevin looks like he's trying not to say it.
Ah, you know what it was, Mr. Grant, yeah?
I do. I didn't have the heart to stop you at the time.
Oh, was my English not correct?
In all of the most technical ways it was, but there were connotations, good sir.
Well, do tell.
I merely intimated that if this was indeed a cat sent from hell, that we would have to use our fists to fist the devil's pussy, yeah?
That is exactly what you said.
Oh, oh, oh,
I
oh
see.
my.
Are you aware of the innuendo to do with cats or rather pussies?
There's a blink, 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 blink.
It's sometimes used to refer to certain feminine parts.
Blink, 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 blink.
Parts that want to be somewhat forceful. Things such as a fist could be inserted into.
There comes that wonderful moment of realization. You see it dawn very slowly, as if the new sun was rising. Oh, oh, I see. Well,
But regarding this hell beast, do you have any idea what sort of creature it might be, other
No.
than destructive?
None whatsoever. There was apparently an exorcism that took place in the 1970s, which apparently caused the creature to subside for a number of years, until such point as I'm led to understand about 10 years later, an acting troupe held a seance in the house and it reawoke the creature. So whatever it is has been there for some time, and people have said it is a dark and maligned force, that they can feel it work in the house. So I am merely going to see what I can see and maybe help to drive it off once and for all.
Or at least find out what it wants. If there's a way that we can resolve the issue without necessarily driving it from its home. Obviously, that might be necessary, but I should think it worth exploring other options.
Yeah, one way or another we can deal with it, but it will be a marvelous story when all is said and done.
A wonderful experience to learn from.
And Evidence just looks at the time, and he's quite tired, so I think we might bring our scene to a close at this point, if that is okay with everyone.
Yep, that's fine
Sure.
with me.
Coolio. So in that case, thank you players for playing, thank you watchers for watching. This has been another scene in Darkness in Dublin. Have a pleasant evening.